All right.
Okay. I'm not in it.
All right. I'm gonna turn it off.
We should move it.
There's moonlight on.
No, I don't.
Oh, but give me 1 second, please, and I'll put on the screen.
Oh.
I was just trying to download this PowerPoint.
Still not going?
I could try giving it to my flash drive.
Miss Rhoda, why didn't she know? Why didn't she know?
Then I give you my notebook right here for your feedback. Alright. Yeah, she'll probably be coming later. But okay, sorry guys, I said to set up a lot of different stuff for my teacher to grade me on the lesson, but alright, so today you guys are actually starting a new unit, right? I don't think you've talked about it yet.
A little bit.
A little bit?
I got 3 words in.
Okay, so then, are you guys familiar? Oh, I like this marker. So you've seen this word before then?
Yesterday it was first time.
Huh?
People mention dirt, they usually say that.
Oh yeah? Well yeah, it's because ecology is all about the earth. So we're going to learn a little bit about where this word came from, or what this word means. Is there any,
There you go. Makes it blank.
Thank you.
Now we're all good.
Okay. All right. So as you can see, I've divided up the word ecology into 2 different parts. We have eco and logy. Now, logy it comes from the Greek word meaning the study of. Okay, so that's what that part means. And then eco comes from the Greek word meaning house or place to live. All right, so I'm going to draw a little express here.
The study of how
It's not a very good house. That's how I figured this. Okay. All right, so I want you guys first to think about some things inside of your own homes or your own houses. So first think about some living things that might be inside your home or your house. You can think of some different things. Okay, a dog, a pet, that's a good example. Hunter. Yourself. Okay, I'll try to draw these things in here as you guys are doing this. All right, anyone else? You can just go ahead and say it.
Cat.
Fish.
Plants.
Fish.
Parrot. Plants.
Frog.
Tarantula.
Did someone say plants?
I did.
Oh, I like that one. Because
Sharks.
plants are living things too.
I have a frog.
An annoying little brother.
Okay. All right, so we got some people in there, we have some pets in there, we even have some plants. So those are all examples of living things that you might find in your house. All right, now let's think of some non-living things inside of your house.
House.
TV.
Well, actually, all these things.
Underpants.
Wait,
Cabinet.
Miss Amanda, but wouldn't all these things actually be living because they were all living before, like couches are made out of cotton? So wouldn't they be living now?
That's a really good point, but
Even though they're dead.
yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, once you know, something's made from something that comes from a plant. Once you cut it off from the plant, it's not living.
Oh.
All right, so we said furniture, table, smoke.
Flag.
Okay.
Well,
You
yeah.
have to do something
A
else.
basketball hoop.
Okay.
That's inside of your house.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
all right. You guys get the idea. Okay. All right. So as you can see, our houses and our homes are full of living and non-living things. So what are some different interactions that the living things inside your house can have?
Talking.
Talking. Okay. So you could talk to your siblings or talk to your parents. Kathleen?
My dog barks at my cat.
Okay, that's a good example. Anything else? Okay. That's okay. Your phone. Okay, well that's an example of an interaction between a living thing and a non-living thing, right? That's what I was going to talk about next. So that could be, you know, but you could be talking to someone on the phone, right? Is that what you meant? Yeah. Okay, so what are some examples of interactions between living and non-living things?
A television.
Okay, so you can be watching TV. Anything else? New hands. Sitting on the couch. Okay. All right, so those are all different examples of interactions that living and non-living things in your house have. All right, so how does this relate back to ecology? That's what we're looking right now. Well, I do this house a little too big, but if you were to think of the Earth as a giant house, you might say that ecology is the study of the interaction among living and non-living things. All right, so that's our basic definition of ecology. All right, so ecology is all about how living and non-living things interact with each other, or how living things interact with each other and how they interact with non-living things. All right, and you know, obviously the examples that we gave for our houses are going to be different than things that we find in nature, but that was just kind of to get you guys to make a connection. All right, so let's look at our lesson objective. You guys all see it? Do we want to read it together? I'll just read it. All right, it says, I can identify examples of organisms, populations, communities, and ecosystems. So you might have heard some of those words before, some of them you might not have, but it's okay, we're going to talk about them all later. All right, so and it's important for you guys to learn about this because, you know, we have to take good care of the earth because we live in it. So we got to make sure that we take care of the living and the non-living things of the earth. And the more that we can learn about those things, the better care that we can take of them. All right, and you guys did a really great job of behaving last time. I was very impressed, and I liked the little clapping thing that we did. So you guys remember that? The clap once, you can hear me, clap twice. All right, so let's practice that one more time just to make sure we haven't forgotten. So talk amongst yourselves.
Hello, Zach. Can you come here?
All right, nice job. Still to keep it up. All right, so now I'm going to pass out some note sheets to you guys. And then, would you mind pulling up the YouTube video? Thank you. All right, and these note sheets have a bunch of different definitions on them that you guys are going to be using probably throughout your whole unit, so you're going to want to keep these. You don't have to give them back to me. Yeah, you're going to need a pencil here. You get a little bit of writing with it.
I need a paper. I already did that.
Ecology, and as you guys watch it, I just want you to follow along and fill in the blanks as you go.
Is it in order?
Yep, they're in order. Oh, these two. And then I'll pause it at certain points just to make sure that you guys fill in the blanks right.
Ecology, the study of the interaction between living and non-living things. Ecology all begins with an organism, which is a living thing. The example we're going to see is of the fox. So an organism can be represented by one single fox. A fox is a living thing. But is an organism the sun? No, the sun is non-living and is not an organism.
Oh yeah? That's awesome. I thought it was good.
So to recap, an organism is one living thing.
So everyone
But
get that
if
blank?
I wanted to make an organism
You guys got it?
Yeah.
That was pretty easy.
It's living.
fit the definition of a population, I'd have to change a few things. I'd have to add more foxes to this picture because a population is a group of the same organisms. So a population would be a group of foxes all living together. But would one single rabbit be a population? No, a rabbit by itself is an organism. A group of rabbits would be a population.
Okay, did everyone get that one? That one's pretty
So
easy.
to recap,
Guys got it? Thumbs up if you got the blank? Okay, good.
population is a group of the same organisms living together. But if I wanted to make a population a community, we'd have to change a few things. In a community, you still have the population of foxes, but you also have other populations that the fox might come across. A population of rabbits, a population of snakes, even a population of birds. And don't forget, plants are living things too. A population of trees also help to define a community. A community is many populations. So a community includes all the populations in an area. But would a fish tank be an example of a community? No, a fish tank includes living and non-living things. A community has all living things.
Okay, so did everyone get the blank for that one?
No.
No?
Many individuals.
Remember it said a community is a group of
Many.
populations living and interacting with each other in a common habitat.
So to recap,
Yeah, go ahead.
a community is of many populations living together. But if I wanted to make a community into an ecosystem, we'd have to add a few things. An ecosystem includes everything in a community and the non-living things, like sunlight, cloud, rocks, mountains, and temperature. An ecosystem is living and... So let's review. An ecosystem includes all the living and non-living things in an area.
What'd you say? I said he cuts off the word there. He didn't say it before.
Oh.
So did everyone get that blank?
No.
I'll give you a hint. It's right up on the screen.
Unloading.
You can play it for just a little bit.
Would water be an ecosystem? No. Water is just one non-living thing.
Everything in it.
Okay, so we can pause that now or close it out. Alright, so that video just talks about the first four, or the top layers of ecology. So there's a couple more layers that we need to talk about, which I have you guys on the PowerPoint. Okay, thank you for doing that for me.
Oh, there's a play up in the corner. Right corner.
It's because it comes from two different
We have
devices.
this often, don't we, guys?
Yeah.
First black.
Is the spinning wheel
Hold the
death
red.
there?
Creeps you out.
Where's the spinning wheel?
No, picture of the frog. Dang it, picture of the frog.
I love that picture.
One of the first 4 layers that we learned about, what would the frog be an example of?
In Oregon.
Oh, Jessica had her hand raised. You guys shouted it out. Is that what you're going to say, Jessica? Oh.
Dang it, didn't work.
Oh, so it pulled out of it.
It pulls out of it and left that error.
It does it all the time. What I did is the
Probably.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. Fine.
All right.
Okay. All right. So it might be hard to see this all at once, but you just put it down south. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. So we went through the first 4 layers. Now we're going to talk about the last 2. So the 5th layer of ecology is called a biome. And a biome is, as it says on your note sheet, a group of ecosystems with similar climates and organisms. A group of ecosystems with similar climates and organisms. All right, so you see all these different colored areas on the map of the world here. And then could you just scroll up just there? Yeah. Okay. All right, so the different colors represent different kind of like climate regions. You know, up in Michigan we have forests and things like that. Over in Africa we have deserts. Can't see it, but in Antarctica we have polar regions and we have rainforests and all different types of regions. So in each biome has or the different biomes have different climates, and they have I'm not explaining this very well. The biomes that are the same color tend to have the same climates and the same organisms. There we go. All right. Okay, we can go to the next slide. All right, so the 6th layer of ecology, and this is the largest one, is called the biosphere. And the biosphere, on your note sheet, it consists of all life on Earth and all parts of Earth in which life exists, including land, water, and the atmosphere. So basically, alright, so you guys got all those links?
Is that the only biosphere that we know of right now?
Well, as to my knowledge, they have not yet discovered life on other planets. And if they have, then I don't know about it.
Back on the biome line, you can tell like Pangea because they connect up together.
Oh, okay.
It's how the different cultures, different biomes separate by where they kind of connect.
Oh,
Good observation.
yeah, good connection.
What? Oh yeah. You know what I just thought about?
What?
Couldn't, like, Mrs. Bowden, if there was another planet with life on it, is there any way that we could prove continental drift by observing that planet with a satellite that we have?
I don't know. We can't get into it right now.
That's
So we could ask them.
Okay, alright, we can go to the next one after the biosphere.
Okay, I'll just discover a new planet later.
Oh, man. Because I was going to click it to have a different thing.
Oh.
Alright, well,
Yeah, so we just do one at a time?
yeah, that's okay. So yeah, just start off with the top one. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do this a little bit differently than I've been planning on doing it, but okay, so basically ecology can be divided into a pyramid organization. So we have this, Caleb, are you listening? So we have the 6 different layers, and each one is a different level of the pyramid. And like a pyramid, the layers grow larger as you go down, right? Yeah. Okay, all right, so let's start. It says individual there, but that's the same thing as organism. So let's start off with that. So in Michigan, we're pretty familiar with forest regions. Those are a lot of the kinds of regions that we have here in Michigan. So we'll talk about some different organisms that we might find in a forest region. So you guys are supposed to be able to see what's there.
So you're not supposed to be able to see?
Because like when I was clicking, it was, yeah, but it's okay. Technology, but it's all right. So as you can see, there's a little bunny there. That's something that might be in a forest, but who can think of some other organisms that you might find in a forest? Something different. Maybe a bird. A bird? Yeah, that's a good example.
Do you know where you find a wolf or a coyote?
Yeah, wolves are pretty close to going to coyotes, I think, but yeah, coyotes are a little bit more common. Okay, Emma?
Frogs.
Frogs. All right, how about something that's not an animal? How about you, Zach?
Trees.
Yeah, trees. Or trees or just one tree?
One.
Yes. Okay, all right, so that's organism. All right, so now we'll move to the next layer, which is, or actually, yeah, I guess I can have you guys share it before. Okay, so for population, and as you can see, there's a group of bunnies together. So a population, like we said before, is a group of like the same organisms. So yeah, for this one, we have the bunnies, and like you said, for tree, that would be like the same kind of tree, several different kinds of them, and the different animals that we named. It would just be like groups of those animals living in the same area. Carter?
I was thinking that for population, couldn't it be algae? Or is that just like...
Yeah, probably like one organism of algae could...
What I was wondering is like, you can't really have individual algae because it's not just like...
Well, you might be able to.
Yeah.
You're an algae expert. You know how to get it down to a single thing, which I'm not.
Me neither.
Me neither.
I've seen algae. It's all
Alright.
Alright,
Okay,
so
so
that's
this
the
time,
algae.
before we go to the next layer, I'll have you guys try to guess it beforehand, even though you might have already seen it. But, okay, so the next one is community. So based on, look at your note sheet to help you out. Based on the definition that you have for community, what are some different things that you might put in there with the bunnies in a forest?
bunnies, worms, and centipedes.
Okay, yeah, those are all things that you'd probably find together in a forest. Okay, so we're going to go to bugs. What are some other kinds of things you might find?
Up there, a tiger and a lion.
Oh my!
In a Michigan forest?
Oh my!
I don't think about.
Lions and tigers and bears.
How about trees?
A lion.
There's a tree.
Okay, trees, but you know trees, right? Populations of trees. Okay, all right. So you can throw that one.
A lion, tiger.
Alright, so community again is a group of populations living and interacting with each other in a common habitat. So here you have a bunny, a fox, a beaver, and trees. Those things are all interacting with each other in the same forest region. Okay, alright, so for the last one before we look at it, okay, so look at your definition on your worksheet for ecosystem, a community of organisms and their non-living environment. So this is the first layer that includes non-living things. So what are some non-living things that we might find in the forest?
Like, a rock.
A rock! That's a great example, yes. Rocks are not living things. Or, I'm sorry, Ethan.
A plastic bag.
A plastic bag, yeah, you might randomly find a plastic bag in a forest. I'm kind of thinking of more natural things, though.
Water.
Water, that's another one. Nice. Okay, so those are all good examples. We can show that. So yeah, here we have rain or water. You can see the sunshine. There's a cloud. Air would be another example of something non-living. Do you have something else in there? Yeah?
Communities, well, the groups that are considered a community, so it's not populations of animals, so it said a group of populations living and interacting with each other in a common context. A population is a group of individuals. So what is
Right. And you're asking that because you just see singular things, right? Okay, I'm really glad you asked that because just for the purpose of this diagram, they're representing a population with just one animal. Just because they don't want a whole bunch of different things in the layer. But you're right. So later on, we're going to actually be making our own ecology pyramid. And just to save space, you guys can represent one population with one organism. But yeah, that's a good question. All those individual things represent populations of those animals and plants. I'm glad you cleared that up for us.
Good question.
Yeah, that was a really good question. All right, so now we can go to the next layer for biome. Alright, so for biome, this is the one on your worksheet, a group of ecosystems with similar climates and organisms. So thinking back to our map with the different colored regions, so we'll have a forest ecosystem. Well, one example would be, okay, so if we found this bunny in a forest in Spring Arbor, we might consider the biome to be like the whole lower peninsula of Michigan, or something like that. So a bunch of similar regions and ecosystems all together. Okay, and then we can go to the last one. And this one's easy because it's the same for everything because, as we mentioned before, we've only found life on Earth. So the biosphere is just pretty much the entire Earth. But are there any parts of the Earth where things can't survive, where you wouldn't find any living things? So what? Egypt? Oh, there's still some animals and some plants living out in the desert.
And there's people in Egypt.
I'm trying to think.
There's hundreds in Alaska, and there are some living things, but Jonathan.
Oh,
Well, actually, no, they're snakes.
Okay, try to think about, okay, where on Earth or in Earth did you not survive?
Oh.
There's not living things in the ocean?
Right here. That's what I thought.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys are kind of going where I want you to, but that's okay.
Wait, I have a, is it like what's it called?
Oh, that's the word I was looking for. The core of the Earth. Okay. You know what's wrong?
No, there's also
The Dead Sea.
yeah.
That's what I've heard of.
Because such of a high salt content.
But they have found organisms that can survive
Right.
crazy extreme, like extreme heat, extreme salt. So I would not want to say that there's nothing.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to say there's nothing in the core.
Yeah. Right. The core of the Earth is super duper hot. Nothing can live down there. What could be another area that?
Don't worry.
What could be another area that you couldn't find life in? It's the opposite kind of Anthony?
Space.
Space, yeah, that's pretty much the direction I was going. I mean, space is outside of the Earth, but there are very, like the outer layers of the atmosphere, the air gets too thin, so things can't live up there. So those are pretty much the only two examples that I can think of. But okay, we gotta move on, you guys. All right. So here we have our complete ecology pyramid of organization. So this is a way that you can think about the different layers of ecology. All right, so now, what time is this class period?
44 after.
Okay.
You
Actually,
have
we are pretty much
17 minutes.
All right, so now I'm going to have you guys. Do you think we're going outside today? You don't want to go outside.
Yeah, because
All right, we're going to. Is this the paper over here?
Yeah.
All right.
And they're all various sizes.
Oh, okay.
So I try to put this for the variety in the hollow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
together.
Okay, you guys are working on this together. Alright, so let's have for directions, you guys. Have one so you can hear me. Oh, very good. Try twice. Alright, let's listen to the directions for this really quick. Alright, so you're going to be working with the people at your tables on this.
Are you having a dentist at home?
No, in groups. Or did you want to do it?
Could I do their own?
Yeah, that's
Are you
fine.
sure?
Oh, whatever works best for you. Okay. That's it. You guys will each be creating your own policy pyramid. But if you want to work together to share ideas, that's okay. All right. Are you guys?
Hey guys, come on. Don't start moving until you get
Alright, let's stay seated for a minute until we get to the directions. Alright, so you're going to be doing this on your own, and you're going to be following these guidelines to do it. Those of you who might want me to do it, but this is what you want to do. Yeah, okay, that's your last time. It's totally fine. Alright, so you guys are just going to be drawing the top 4 layers of the pyramid. So, organism, population, community, you can't see it here, but ecosystem. Okay, just the 4 top layers. And in each one, for organism, that's just one thing, right? So you're only putting one item there. For population, you need to put at least 3 items in. For community, you need to have at least 5. And then I'll pull it up, but for ecosystem, you need to have at least 7. Okay, so you're going to be creating drawings of different items that you would find in each layer of the pyramid.
Where are these due?
What's that?
Where are these due?
That's what you need to vote. They're not due today. No. I want you guys to take your time on them. You can create your drawings.
Can we kind of see
You guys need to write it down so we're ready to do it.
6?
What was your question, Cynthia?
Are we cutting these into triangles too? Just hang on.
I think she'll have you do that after the meeting. Oh, okay.
But we'll wait till you do that.
Alright, so you, and then,
Am I going to mess you
no,
up?
it won't. I can, Alright, so even though you're going to be creating your own ecology pyramids, if it's okay with you, I was going to have them like each do a different like region. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Okay.
They all do that.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I like that.
Wait, stop.
So each table is going to do a different region. So I have these lists of things that have different regions on them. And you'll find out what they are in a minute, but if you look at it, you're like, I really don't even know what that word means.
Look it up.
Right. Use your iPad to look it up. And use your iPad to research what living and non-living things you would find in each layer for your specific region. Okay, don't just guess if you don't know. Use your iPad. Alright, so you guys are going to be drawing these things, and if it's okay with Mrs. Bowden, if you feel like one of your drawings might be unclear or something, you can write what it is.
I already made my marker triangle.
Oh no, this is different.
You can make 2 of them the same.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's fine. Okay. Alright, so one of you pick out a piece of paper.
Hold on. I'm going to show Amanda, can I give you quick directions on how to do
Yeah.
You guys, have a seat. I'll give you a circle-meter stick. Here is the fastest way to make a straight triangle. Fold it at the top. Increase it in the center. That's your center point. And then with the meter stick, draw a line from that fold to each corner. And then you'll be good.
Come on, Carter, hurry up. I know you're on camera right now. Yep. So is Zach.
I'm terrible at that.
You only need 4. No, don't have Now time to cut out.
Don't put it out yet.
Why not? That's what this meter stick is for. Search up. What kind of animal lives on the savannah? What? Okay. I'm going to make a triangle one. Like this?
Okay, so you take this.
Like that. Like that. I'm going to draw an ostrich. Like this. Like that. I need a black bucket.
Are you guys really clap? Clap once you can hear me. Well, do good. Clap twice. Clap 3 times. Can I have everyone turn around and face me, please? Carter. Okay. Alright, so these might be in different regions than the ones that you guys have, but if you're kind of getting stuck and you need some ideas, Mrs. Golden has some examples from past classes up here. Alright, so this one is like a forest region like we were talking about. This one is too. Here's a C1 for the C people. Give you guys some ideas. Alright, here's some time, you guys. 3 tanks. Alright, so there's all different ones up here. So if you kind of need something to jumpstart your thinking, you can take a look at these. Alright, and so we'll work on this up until just a couple minutes before class gets out because I have to tell you guys about these feedback things like last time, okay? We're going to take this until next time.
We should just fill those out right now because we only have 7 minutes. And then we'll have time
You
to
can just wait till the end, but I'll pass them out while you guys are working on it. Alright, so there's no need to rush. You guys have time to work on
I need
this.
the backpack.
This is
Excited. There's 2 of them.
Hey, you guys.
Right? I want you to be a good triangle. That
What did you do? Huh? What a triangle.
I don't know.
My triangle's big.
Okay. Alright, clap once you can hear me. Clap twice. Clap 3 times. Alright, can everyone turn and face me, please? Alright, Mrs. Bowden just showed me something really neat. You're having trouble making the sections of your pyramid equal. Here's a trick that you can do. You can first cut it out if you want, or you can just leave it on the paper. But if you fold it in half, and make a crease. And then fold it in half again and make a crease. And then draw the line where the creases are. That'll help you make your sections equal, okay?
Wait, and then this would be one. What's in Savannah? Now I'm going to draw one more ostriches. You like ostriches? Are there camels? No. These people are hard with my spinning Why are our triangles so big? Oh, geez, what the heck? I wish you had more time. What do you have? Oh, it's okay. What do you guys have? Animals? How do you have Oh, I'm gonna fill up this speed right now. You gotta draw the smiley face. What was your favorite part about the harder?
I just don't like it.
I'm gonna draw a giraffe or an elephant or a rhino. Our hippos and the Check out my ostrich, Sydney. It's legitimate.
Hey Carter, our hippos
Hippos are in the savannah. They are a hippo.
This is golden. I'm golden. I'm cutting it out. I'm pretty slowly. I'll go at 30 seconds.
Are you guys, if you haven't filled out your feedback sheets yet, please do that before you pass it over.
Put it somewhere just tiny, and do not leave till Miss Amanda gets her feedback sheet. Alright, grab something, clean up your tables. It's okay if you're late to Mrs. Trent for a minute. Perfect. Put it in by Anthony. We'll work on these all day tomorrow.
Alright, you guys are going to have a quiz over this stuff on Thursday.
Read that by Anthony. Throw your scraps away. Thanks, guys. Feedback sheet.
I think you guys are doing well beginning. I appreciate it.
Solomon, I'll see you. Thank you, Amanda. Carter, take care of your markers. Yeah.
What else did you do last? I have them.
Check out this ostrich. That was that you can draw. What did you get? Nothing.
Because I tried to draw.
No. And that was wrong. Here's what you should draw. With little prickles all over it. And then you should write cactus.
Oh, cool, Don. You're watching me right now. That's freaky. What's that for? For 20% profit?
No, it's not for mine. It's for hers.
What's yours? 20%.
Oh, okay. What is the helmet? I need to know that. I turned around before then. Olivia, you're gonna stare at yourself in the camera? She's being sad.
She's ratchet.
She doesn't know what that means.
She's a ratchet little kid.
She still doesn't know what that means.
She picks her nose and eats it.
She still doesn't know what it's saying.
Nova. She picks her nose and eats it.
She eats her hair in her armpit.
She's getting great.
What?
Everyone has
her.
Yeah, but I don't know.
She itches her armpits.
You guys quickly, quietly.
Miss Bowden, everyone's getting by the camera.
Miss Amanda. Quick.
You guys have your iPads ready? Where is the camera? Pencils out.
Do not put your stuff on the counters.
What? Oh, give me a sec. If you're sitting at the top, yes.
Alright, so if you can hear before, please get your iPads out and have a pencil ready. Alright, you guys, so I'm going to be teaching our lesson again today. Yay! Alright, so I understand that you guys were introduced to this word recently.
Are you
Yep.
Are you on teachers today? Olivia. Okay, stop.
Alright, have you guys heard of this word yet?
Yeah.
Ecology? Okay. You guys, Lexi?
Michelle.
Okay. Alright, so this is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm kind of introducing the unit to you guys. Alright, so this word, ecology, I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about what this word means, okay? Alright, so logi comes from the Greek word that means the study of. Alright, so that's one part of the word. And then eco comes from the Greek word for house or place to live. Alright, so that's where the word ecology comes from. Alright, so going off this idea of having a house, I'm going to draw a house first here. Hopefully it'll be better than the last one. Alright. Alright, so first I want you guys to think of some things inside of your own houses, or or inside of your own home. Alright, so first think of some living things inside of your turtle, okay. So a pet, that could be an example. Chloe?
A plant.
A plant? What kind of plant do you have?
Daisy.
Okay, see if I can try to draw this stuff. Okay, so daisies then. Alright, what are some other living things inside our house?
A dog.
A dog, okay. Alright, what are some other things, Adam? A person. That's a good one. Because people are definitely alive. Alright, so those are all some really good, you guys have plenty of opportunities. So I appreciate your enthusiasm. Alright, so those are all some examples of living things inside of our houses. Alright, now I want you guys to think of some non-living things inside of your house. A TV. Okay. That's a good one. Lexi?
My couch.
Your couch. Couch is your Alright. What are some other things? A phone? A phone. Well, that was a really great one. Alright, yeah, so those are all some different examples of non-living things that we might find in our house. Alright, so how does this relate to the idea of ecology? Alright, well, if we think of the earth as a big house, that hurt my ears.
Yeah.
We could say that ecology is the study of the interaction among living and non-living things. So it's the study of the interaction of living and non-living things that are on the earth. Alright. So, and even though, we talked about the different examples that we have in our house, just remember that these are going to be different from the examples that we talk about in nature. I just wanted you guys to make that connection. Alright. Let's look at our lesson objectives here. I can identify examples of organisms, populations, communities, and ecosystems. So some of those words you guys might have heard before, some of you may have not, but we're going to learn all about them today, so don't worry if they look a little unfamiliar. And it's really important for us to learn about these different things of the earth because we live in the earth, and we have to take good care of it because that's what we're supposed to do. So, you just want to make sure that we're taking good care of all the living and non-living things on the earth. And the more that we learn about these things, the better job we can do of taking care of them. Alright, so last time you guys were really well behaved, which I really appreciated. I like the clapping procedure that we use. Remember the clap when you can hear me? Like, yep. Alright, so let's practice that again really quick, just to make sure you remember how to do it. So clap. Alright, nice job. So hopefully you guys will be able to keep that up for this lesson. Alright, so now we can pull up a little video for you guys. definitions for the unit. So I want you guys to keep these, okay? You don't have to give them back to me. They'll come in handy later on, I promise. As we watch this video, you guys are going to be, you guys, as you guys watch this video, you're going to be filling in the blanks, but I can pause the video at different parts to make sure that you guys have it. But they go in order, so try to follow along. All right, everyone's got one, right? Okay. All right.
Ecology, the study of the interaction between living and non-living things. Ecology all begins with an organism, which is a living thing. The example we're going to see is of the fox. So an organism can be represented by one single fox. A fox is a living thing. But is an organism the sun? No, the sun is non-living and is not an organism.
Alright, so did everyone get that blank? That one was pretty easy. Thumbs up if you got it. Okay.
So to recap, an organism is one living thing. But if I wanted to make an organism fit the definition of a population, I'd have to change a few things. I'd have to add more foxes to this picture because a population is a group of the same organisms. So a population would be a group of foxes all living together. But would one single rabbit be a population? No, a rabbit by itself is an organism. A group of rabbits would be a population.
Alright, so you guys got that one?
So to recap, a population is a group of the same organisms living together. But if I wanted to make a population a community, we'd have to change a few things. In a community, you still have the population of foxes, but you also have other populations that the fox might come across. A population of rabbits, a population of snakes, even a population of birds. And don't forget, plants are living things too. A population of trees also help to define a community. A community is many populations. So a community includes all the populations in an area. But would a fish tank be an example of a community? No, a fish tank includes living and non-living things. A community has all living things.
Alright, so did everyone get the blank for that one? No. Alright, I'll give you a hint. It's up on the screen. Yep, a group of populations living and interacting with each other in a common habitat. That's what community is. Okay, go to one more.
So to recap, a community is of many populations living together. But if I wanted to make a community into an ecosystem, we'd have to add a few things. An ecosystem includes everything in a community and the non-living things, like sunlight, cloud, rocks, mountains, and temperature. An ecosystem is living and... So let's review.
You still say living and non-living. I don't know why it cuts off.
An ecosystem includes all the living and non-living things in an area. Would water be an ecosystem? No, water is just one non-living thing.
Okay, so we can pause it and then pull up our this PowerPoint. Thank you again for helping me out.
What was the blank for?
Oh yeah, that one was a little bit tricky. So ecosystems, a community of organisms and their, remember we talked about living and non-living. Yep, they're non-living environments. Alright, so that video talks about just 4 layers of ecology, Nova. So we're going to talk about a couple more now, okay? Alright, so the 5th one on your note sheet is biome. And a biome is a group of ecosystems with similar climates and organisms. A group of ecosystems with similar climates and organisms. Alright, so as you guys can see on this map, there's a bunch of different colored areas. And these different colored areas could represent different biomes. So there's a little key down here that we have. So in Michigan, we have different forest regions and things like that. We have some rainforests down here. We have some desert regions over in Africa. Up in Antarctica, we have polar regions. So there's all different types. But each different colored area could represent a different biome. And and the biomes that are all the same color have similar climates and have similar organisms in them. Okay? Alright, so again, a group of ecosystems with similar climates and organisms. Okay, go to the next one. Alright, so the last one, and the biggest one, is called the biosphere. And on your note sheet, the biosphere consists of all life on Earth and all parts of the Earth in which life exists, including land, water, and the atmosphere. You guys got the link to that last one? All right. Okay, we go to the next slide. Okay. All right, so due to some technology issues, we're going to do this a little bit different than I've been planning on doing it. But, okay, so ecology. All right, so ecology can be organized into, or the ecology layers can be organized into a kind of pyramid. And we can think about it like this because a pyramid, you know, it starts off small and gets larger, and it's the same with the different layers of ecology. They start off small, like with organisms, and they gradually get bigger as they move up to the biosphere, they move down to the biosphere. All right, so we're going to think about some different things that might be in each layer of an ecology pyramid, okay? All right, so in Michigan, we're pretty familiar with forest regions, right? We have a lot of forests around here. So let's pretend that we're thinking about a specific forest region, like one that we would find around here. All right, so this says individual, but another word for that is organism. And here you can see a little bunny, right? That would be an example of an organism or an animal that we would find in the forest region, right? So who can think of some other examples of organisms that you would find in a forest region? Ethan? That's a good one. Yeah, that's one that someone else has said in other class. Yep. Chloe? A bear. Yeah. And a deer. A deer. Yeah, deer. You can see those all over, especially around here. That's a good one. A raccoon. A raccoon. Yeah. What about? So those are all animals. Those are all really good examples. But what about something that's living that isn't an animal? Yeah, flowers. Don't put it over. Juliana? Trees. Trees. Yeah, but do you say a tree or trees? A tree. A tree, that's right. Because an organism is just one thing. You guys have lots of more opportunities, so if you didn't get called upon today. Alright, so that's the first layer. Now look at your definition sheet. The second layer is population. You don't have to move it. Okay. or a group of individuals of the same species that live in the same area. Alright, so if our organism that we're talking about is a bunny, then the population would be, you can do it now. I'm sorry. It's okay. So the population would be a bunch of bunnies, or like a family of bunnies, all living together in like the same area. Okay? Or like you said, a family of coyotes, or a bed of flowers, or something like that. Okay, so the next one, we won't go with that, but it's community. It's okay. It's communities. So a group of populations living and interacting with each other in a common habitat. Right, so along with the bunnies in a forest region, along with the population of bunnies, what could you include in the next layer, or community in a forest? Olivia?
Snake.
One snake, or?
Snake. A snake. Snake.
Yes, snakes. A population of snakes, or like a family of snakes. Alright. Ready? Spiders? Oh, that's a good one. I don't like spiders, but that's a good example. You definitely find lots of spiders in the forest. Okay, so maybe like a family of spiders. Who hasn't raised their hand yet? Noah?
Like, are we talking like the forest region, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking. You'd find like turtles.
Turtles? Yeah, that's a good example too. Okay, so we can show that one now. Okay. Alright, so communities. Alright, so the examples that they put in here, we have the bunnies, we have some foxes, we have some beavers, and we have some trees. And one question that someone asked in the last period that was a really good clarification, she asked why there just are single items drawn here when we said that a community is different populations living together. And this is really just for the sake of space. In this picture, if we were to draw all those bunnies and all those foxes, yeah, and all those beavers and all those trees, it would be really full. So just for the sake of space, they are representing a population of bunnies with one bunny, okay, and with the other things. So if you're confused by that, just know that. Okay, do you have a question on that?
So, like for population, does it have to be more than one? Can it be like two and then be a population?
It can be two. It's usually more than two, though, I would say. Yeah, it's definitely more than one. If it's just one thing, it's just an organism. It's an organism. Good question. Okay, so the next one on our worksheet is ecosystem. A community of organisms and their non-living environment. Alright, so this is the first layer that we see that includes non-living things. So think about a forest. We have our populations of bunnies and foxes and beavers and trees. What are some non-living things that might go in the ecosystem layer along with those things? Okay.
A cheeseburger.
I don't think I've ever found a cheeseburger in the forest. It is a non-living thing, but we're thinking forest here. Landon?
Plastic bottle.
Unfortunately, you might find a plastic bottle if people are polluting. I'm kind of thinking of more natural things. A rock, yes. That's an example of something that's not living. Yeah, sticks would be. If the sticks are attached to a tree, that means they're living because they're part of the tree. But if it's just a stick that fell off a tree, that means it's not alive anymore. So yeah, that's a really good example. Great.
A leaf.
A leaf? What if it's attached to a tree? Right, so a leaf that was on the ground, right? Or something like that. There may be a couple more things you might find in the forest too.
Mountain?
A mountain. Yeah. You might find some mountains in certain kinds of forests. I'm thinking of if I was really thirsty in the forest. You said?
I was gonna say dirt.
Oh, dirt. Yeah, that's another thing. That's a good one too. Water. Yeah. So you might find a pond or a little stream or something, and then even just the air. That's another non-living thing. All right. So we can show that one. All right. So yeah. So we have sunshine. We have rain. You know, we have some rain clouds and things like that. So those are all examples of non-living things that are in there with the living things. Okay, so the next one is biosphere, and you can just show that one. Or not biosphere, biome. Alright, so if we're looking at our worksheet, or our note sheet, it's a group of ecosystems. How does it look at some pictures? Okay, here, a group of ecosystems with similar climates and organisms. Yeah, just want to make sure. Okay. Alright, so for example, alright, so say we start off and we're talking about a bunny that we found in a forest in Spring Arbor. And we go through our different layers. You might say that the biome for that would be like the whole lower peninsula of Michigan. Like the whole lower peninsula of Michigan has similar climates and organisms. Okay, so that would be an example of that. Okay, and then the last one is the Earth. Yes, is the biosphere. And not just the Earth, but specifically all life on Earth and all parts of the Earth in which life exists, including land, water, and the atmosphere. So pretty much everywhere on Earth can support life, but there might be a couple places, maybe not on the Earth, but above the Earth or inside the Earth, where life can't live. So you can think of a couple places where something can't live on Earth. The core? The core. Yes, you guys come up that one really fast. You have to go a little while to get that. But yeah, the core. Why? Because it's the core.
It's hot.
Yes, Lexi, it's very hot. Nothing can live in the core of the Earth. That would be one example of somewhere where you wouldn't find life.
What about the outer core? Is there anything in the outer core?
What do you think about that? Like, yeah, I don't think so. I think once you get past a certain,
Like all of the core is the inner core and the outer core. There's
yeah,
nothing living in it.
I would say, yeah, probably not the outer core. Once you reach a certain level of underground, like it gets too hot and nothing can live under there. Yeah, space, that's pretty much the direction I was heading. I mean, outer space isn't actually part of the Earth, but like the very outer layers of Earth's atmosphere, where the air gets really thin, nothing can live up there because living things need oxygen to live, right? Did you have something else? The mantle? The mantle, yeah, that might be another example too. I'm not a science expert, but you might have to research that one. Okay. All right. So those are the different layers of our ecology pyramid. And again, we call that a pyramid of organization. It's just a helpful way for us to think about the different layers of ecology. They go from small to big. Did you have questions here?
Now, like moss, would that be an organism, a population? Like, because there's like a whole bunch of like different little things.
Yeah, things like, and Carter had a similar question the first period. Things like algae and moss like that, it's hard to pinpoint which layer it is because, you know, it's like, oh, is that a clump of moss an organism or is it population? But yeah, it is a living thing, so it would be in one of those questions. Isaac?
A tree is an organism, but there are leaves attached to it that are living things. Would it still be an organism?
Well, you could say that the different leaves are organisms, but then the tree itself is an organism as well. But once the leaf falls off the tree, it's not living anymore because it's not organism.
So,
Right.
so a tree is an ecosystem, a biome, and a community.
Oh no, that just means that the tree is in each of those things.
So it's all that?
The biome is this whole layer, it's all these things. The ecosystem is this whole layer and all those things. Okay? All right. Okay, so we're going to move on here. not today, and in the following class period, you guys are going to be making your own ecology pyramid.
Yay! Oh yeah,
Alright.
Oh no, it's
Okay, you guys do that? Okay, so we have some different examples from previous classes here. If, while you're creating yours, you kind of need to jumpstart your thinking, you can come up and look at some of these. So this one, it looks like it's for, I don't know, maybe just like a pond area or like a park or something like that. There's swans and things like that. Looks like this one. This one is like a forest region. Okay, so there's all kinds of different examples. Alright, we're going to pass out some papers for this, and I want to give you guys some tips before we start so that once you get going, you can just go to town. But, okay, so once for drawing the triangle, you said to start at the middle and then like go to the corners?
Yeah, if they fold it in half, then they have their middle, and then you use the meter stick.
Okay.
Want me to demonstrate?
Yeah.
Mrs. Amanda, do we all make our own or do we make
Guys, I have all various size papers. Some are bigger, some than others. Fold it in half. You only have to crease it a little bit to find the center point. And with your meter stick, place it from there to this corner, and from there to this corner, and you'll get a nice triangle.
Yeah. And then a way for you to get even sections in your pyramid. Oh, and we're only going to be doing the top 4 layers. So you don't have to worry about drawing biome and biosphere because those are kind of hard to draw. So we're just going to be doing the top 4 layers. Okay, so to try to get your sections equal like they are here, here's a trick that you can do. Once you get your triangle, you can fold it in half like that and make a crease. Are you guys watching? Yeah. Okay. Fold it in half again, make a crease. And then open it up and draw lines along your creases and you'll have even layers, okay? So those are just a couple of things. Okay, so let me see if I can
I was about to look at the future like this. That would be so hard not to laugh.
What would be so hard for you?
Does everyone have a
You guys, before you need to get directions.
Guys, not once if you can hear me. Not twice if you can hear me. Not 3 times if you can hear me. Alright, you guys all take your seats down really quick. More directions I have to give you guys before you get started on these, okay? Alright, so this is the titles of your 4 different layers that you have. Alright, so for the organism layer, remember we talked about it, organism is just how many things?
No.
1, that's right. So you should only be drawing 1 thing in your top layer. For population, remember that's like a family or a group of one kind of organism. You're going to draw at least 3 things in this one, okay? For community, you're going to draw at least 5 different things or 5 different items. And for ecosystem, you're going to draw at least 7 different ones. And if you feel like you're lacking with your artistic ability, if any of your drawings you're like, oh, I can't really tell what that is, you can write what it is above it, okay? But yeah, you're going to be drawing, you guys listen, you're going to be drawing different things in the pyramid. And I have different pieces of paper that have different types of regions on them. So I'm going to give a slip of paper to your table, and the people at your table are going to be drawing in your pyramid based on what region I give you, okay? You're only going to be drawing living and non-living things from your region. Oh, no, one more thing, you guys. One more thing. If you get your region and you don't even know what that word is, I want you to look it up on your iPad, okay? Because some of the regions that I give you guys, you might not know what belongs in the different layers, so you might have to research it on your iPad. So feel free to do that, okay? You don't have to just guess. Alright.
Either Africa or I know. Yeah, I know. I said
So you're going to have it all of tomorrow on this too. It's going to take you the whole time to be followed.
That's the only one I want. I want to pick you. I want to pick you.
Yeah, I do. Can I hit you?
Okay, there we go. That's a good try. Good try. Then you should do desert, fox, or a camel.
Maybe I should do
You guys, behave. Alright, you guys, I'm going to put this at your... Is someone sitting here?
No.
Okay, I'm going to put this at your table just so that my professor can see you guys working.
Alright.
It's recording.
I'll hold it. Very good teacher. Yeah, they just like
You need to like have it be a complete piece, so go down to the corner. Or you could just cut it off here actually. Okay, so draw a line. Connecting the bottom. Okay, nice job. Alright, now, if you want, yeah, you can just cut off that first. Okay, fold it in half. Now crease it.
fold it again.
Yeah, fold it in half again. then you can draw lines along the creases. Okay, alright, so fold your paper in half. Oh wait, other way, because we're doing the layers now.
Pretty good. You can keep them longer as the bun. Alright. I step on it 2:30.
Okay.
Time to put their name on it.
Okay.
I think Sagittarius 3 days kind of desert, so camel chose and river Camels, turtles,
Okay, and then just fold it in half again. Oh, other way. The long way again. Yep, and then... Yeah. Okay, so now you have 4 even sections you can draw your line. Thank you. And then if you want, you can outline it just so that it's a little clearer.
Oh, for our region, we have to pick something that's in that region to draw. What? Oh.
I'm doing a Diego
I'm drawing a fish. Yeah, I know. I can't draw a fish. Yeah, I know. Oh. Yeah, that makes more sense. Is it videotaping me?
It is.
I'm being videotaped. Some of you I'm trying to see what was down there. I'm trying to see what
We got a mountain region. Hey, it's in China. Mountain. I'm changing. A mountain. I'm doing that color. Is that enough squares? Is that enough squares?
Do lambs live in the mountains?
Okay, now, Caleb, I'm gonna find the best mountain range.
I need help. Okay.
Miss Amanda is an awesome teacher, just so you know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how to put this.
Does anybody else read this? Alright, you guys, clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Alright, so Mrs. Bowden said you guys gotta make sure we get out on time today. So please start cleaning up. You guys will have all day for science to work on these tomorrow. So don't feel like you need to rush. But just know that I'm going to be giving you guys a quiz on Thursday about what we learned today. So be ready for that, okay? It won't be hard though. I think you guys will be fine.
You guys, real quick, put your name in the bottom corner, and we're gonna put those right back on the counter by Grace.
Put your name on the cover.
Yeah, put your name on your triangle, put them back by Grace. What? That is crazy. Let me see it.